In two magical African wilderness areas, the Masai Mara in Kenya and the Greater Kruger Park in South Africa, 5 expert safari guides follow a cast of compelling animal characters and the never-ending stories that define their lives. Previously, on the Cat Report. The Sausage Tree Pride transformed from buffalo-killing specialists to migration monopolists as the herds thundered into the Mara. Kipuli and his 2 coalition partners dominated the plains, expanded their domain and furthered their bloodlines. The aging Waffles birthed twin heirs, although succession remains an open question. Down south, Tingana continued to defy time and his rivals as Duke of Djuma. His son, Hosana, decided he'd had enough of losing his hard-earned meals, while Tundi managed to keep up with feeding herself and the rapidly growing Princess Tlalamba.
Hello everybody and welcome to this edition of the Cat Report. This week I find myself up in the Masai Mara, and over there we've got the very special Sausage Tree Pride. Now they have formed a constant thread throughout our series, and there have been some fascinating developments with them. Now this is a pride of 5 lionesses, the most recognizable of which of course is Kinky Tail. Now just in front of Kinky Tail there is a lioness suckling a young cub. Now interestingly, we think that that is the offspring of Kipuli, a big male who came into the pride and adopted 2 of the young Sausage Tree Pride males as coalition partners. Now, since the birth of that cub, Kipuli and his coalition have headed off towards the south and left the Sausage Tree Pride.
Having forged a coalition and sired cubs, Kipuli and his 2 cohorts grew restless. They set off southeast to expand their territory, where they found the warm embrace of the salt-licked lionesses. Although he still sports a wound from his battle with the 2 migration interlopers, Kipuli has settled with the new pride. As the temperature cools, he seems to have few concerns, and the lionesses take turns to lavish their affections on him. We are not sure where Kipuli came from, but he has achieved mightily over the last few months. Kipuli has earned more than just the lioness's affection in the Mara Triangle. He has expanded his domain in this fertile and beautiful land, a place where his offspring now roam. While Kipuli rests in the Salt Lick area, the Sausage Tree Pride cubs rely on their mother's dedicated efforts to provision them. Their father's absence, however, has offered a gap for another male coalition, the Oldonyo Payek, to arrive in the Sausage Tree Pride lands. Amazingly, they have not harmed Kipuli's offspring, perhaps because Kinky Tail negotiated a peace through mating with both brothers. What the future holds for the Sausage Tree Pride, Kipuli and the cubs remains to be seen.
Now, it's quite a warm afternoon out here, and that's probably why she's panting. She does look quite full. That said, there is a huge herd just beyond her, and a small line walking kind of across in the direction where she was walking. Now, we do know that lions during migration time will hunt even if they are not hungry. We've seen prides take out 6 or 7 wildebeest in less than half an hour and not eat any of them. And possibly the instinct to hunt is separate from the instinct to eat. The rest of the pride hasn't joined her. She's just heading slowly towards the herds. You can see their bellies are heaving, and that's probably because they are stuffed full of wildebeest. And that just quite gobsmacking abundance of animals in the background. The wildebeest and zebra should be long gone into the Serengeti by now, but quite against all expectation, they've come back north into the Mara Triangle, and they're currently grazing in huge numbers at the foot of the Olololo Escarpment. They had a 3-week absence, during which the Sausage Tree Pride reverted to their buffalo hunting ways.
The Mara arena appears quiet and tranquil, until the Goliath players storm the field and cause the earth to rumble beneath their giant feet. And the contestants are evenly matched, each equipped with commitment and brute force. The tournament could take a turn in either direction. Even where reinforcements are available to bolster one side of the campaign. Stamina and determination will decide who lives or who dies in this match. The Sausage Tree Pride are buffalo specialists, but their efforts seem uncoordinated this time, and they seem less sure of themselves after the easy pickings of the migration. Kinky Tail watches from the sidelines until it's time to administer the killing blow and clamp canines over the muzzle. It is purely exhaustion and the weight of numbers that wears down the victim. But it's never wise to underestimate the enemy's will and ability to retaliate. In the end, it is pure courage that wins the day. The lions retreat to re-evaluate their game strategy, and the buffalo hulks depart in victory.
It's one of my favourite things to see buffalo standing up to lions, and I often wonder if they could just get it into their heads to stand as a united front and defend each other. I'm pretty sure they'd never be eaten by lions at all. The lioness still heading towards the herds. They're now watching her with intent. You can see the wildebeest in the background shaking with anger, alarm calling, going Now, for the bulk of the cat report, I have been sat at Djuma with those magnificent leopards, while out here in the Masai Mara we've been concentrating on hyenas, lions, and of course cheetahs. But leopards do occur in the Masai Mara, and that most adaptable of spotted cats thrives out here.
Spots blend into the sea of Mara grass as well as they do in the dappled light of the Kruger woodlands. Trees are more sparse in the savannas, and perhaps this accounts for the Mara leopards being almost as adept at climbing as their woodland counterparts. The arboreal pantry affords him a vantage over the plains and their endless possibilities. Warthog seems to be a universal leopard taste. And without thieving hyenas, the soft, tall Mara grass provides a comfortable and secluded dining table.
Now, it's always a tremendous privilege to see a leopard here in the Mara, and we're actually sitting in an area that belongs to a fellow known as the Shepherd's Bush male. The leopards at Djuma fail to read any of the textbooks that say they are supposed to be solitary. Tingana, Hosana, Thandi and Tlalamba are often found around each other, normally squabbling over food. Brent is there now in South Africa under some fairly leaden skies, but he's got a little brightness to help him with the overcast weather.
It's a blustery, windy, overcast morning here in the Western Kruger. And you can see just over my right shoulder is the little princess Tlalamba, waiting patiently for her mom atop a termite mound. Mom's off hunting somewhere, we're not 100% sure where she is, and hopefully for both of them, she's going to be able to catch something quite substantial. But for the moment, little Tlalamba has chosen a really good, safe spot to wait. Now, that termite mound gives her some height, so she can see if there are any prospective dangers approaching. But of course, Mom's been having a hard time with either the male leopards or the hyenas stealing her kills recently. So let's hope that she is able to provide a big meal for the gorgeous little Tlalamba. Successfully bagging and hoisting an impala dinner was a real coup for the little chief Hosana. And after a satisfying feed, he took some well-deserved R&R time under cool skies, oblivious to the impending drama about to unfold. Sensing his presence, half-sibling Queen Thandi left her own kill nearby. But it was a frosty reunion. While the half-siblings bickered, Duke Tingana helped himself to his son's kill. Hosana was none the wiser while he dealt with his grumpy sister. As Hosana has grown, he slowly realized he is stronger than Thandi. And he is much more assertive with her these days. The look of disappointment on his face was evident when he realized he had been supplanted by his father. And he looked longingly at his fast disappearing meal. Then, to add insult to injury, the cleanup crew arrived, hopeful as ever for scraps. Since scraps are all that Hosana could now lay claim to, his tolerance was low. Seeing off the scavenger and simultaneously being lured away by it. Nearby, young Tlalamba was feeding on a nyala Thandi had killed earlier in the day, and the hyena knew exactly where the windfall was. It had only to follow its nose, and Hosana followed it. The princess could only watch as her meal was devoured by the spotted thieves. Now suddenly prepared to make it a meal for two. But the Duke is no fool, and full-bellied or not, he demands the king's share of any feast in his domain. Thandi could only watch helplessly from the side. From his high perch, Tingana looked down on his son and co, reminding them exactly who is the Duke of them all. And it was back to scraps for the Hosana. Sounds like Mom is on her way back, and you can hear her contact calling. Those soft chuffs are her special way of calling the cub. Tlalamba seems aware of Thandi's approach. See the ears twitch. But she isn't jumping up to go and meet her mom. She knows she's safe here and will wait for her mom to come and find her. This could also be her way of exercising some teenage defiance, refusing to jump up and rush to Mom at her first beckon. She's becoming more and more independent as the weeks progress. As independence goes, Hosana is trying to become a force all upon his own. However, it doesn't seem to quite work out for him, as his dad keeps getting in the way. Let's go have a look how it all played out. An ever-hopeful Hosana found Thandi's kill abandoned by the Duke, and and under the cover of darkness made his sneaky move to finally get a bite to eat. He repositioned his meal higher up, only to watch it plummet from his grasp. Knowing it couldn't remain on the ground if he wanted to protect it from the hyenas, he quickly descended to retrieve it and hoisted it back up to safety. While desperately trying to work out the best solution for untangling his dinner, the problem was solved for him when Dad arrived back. Instead of enjoying the feast, Hasana spent the rest of the evening perched uncomfortably in the flimsy canopy while his father gloated assertively yet again. There we go, Tlalamba has snuck back in. There we go. Hi, Mom. Boom! Isn't that wonderful? So she actually came in from quite far away. She did a bit loop around before coming back to join Mom. Now it's going to be interesting to see whether Mom has made a kill and she's going to lead Tlalamba back to the kill, or she's just popping in for a check-in. There we go, isn't this wonderful? Lots of playing behavior. It's so special to be able to witness these moments between mom and daughter. Look how big Tlalamba has got. She's nearly the same size as her mom. Isn't this absolutely incredible? She's just come and found Tlalamba, and we're going to follow them to see where they go next. Okay, while I stick with the leopards, let's go back to see what Jamie's up to.
Off to, my girl. Alright, well, let's go see where the Queen's taking us. We're not going to the den this morning. Where are we going, Waffles? I'm hoping that she'll actually come and bring the cubs out, because they're going to be hungry. I'm curious. Very curious. Perhaps she's heard something that I have not. It's entirely possible. Her sense of hearing is vastly better than mine. And you can see how cautious she's being. She's obviously heard those males calling. She certainly would have been able to from where she was. I'm still keeping a bit of distance from her so that she can listen over the sound of the engine. But she's moving away from the lions now. And the rest of the clan is in that direction. Hyenas don't dig their own dens. They utilize, which is what I've got to be very careful around here, aardvark and warthog burrows for their den sites. They've even been known to share their den sites with porcupines. But this whole area is full of holes, so I've got to be really careful about where I drive. So what hyena cubs will do is they will excavate within the tunnels themselves. They'll make their own tiny little tunnels and little shelves that they can sleep on while staying dry. We're going to keep following her. I'm curious to see where she's going to lead us, and she's not in any way bothered by us.
Meanwhile, here's what those two boisterous little wafflets have been up to lately. North Clan Den is a hive of activity as the two awkward little black wafflets continue to grow and develop, learning much about the clan's social norms amidst all of their mischievous hyena hijinks. Like bullets, they whiz to and fro, pausing only to practice the rituals of hyena society, like pasting. The cubs are showing off the early spotted coats of budding adolescence. But precocious as they are, they still need an adult around to break the fall when clumsy feet are misplaced. For now, play is play, and these two don't need to worry about much else at all.
It is just a hole hidden in the ground where there is a muddy puddle, but for her, it is the perfect place to wait out the lion invasion. I don't know how she's going to know when the lions leave or not, or if she's just going to wait until it gets hot and they're more likely to be asleep. She's probably going to wait it out rather than potentially attract trouble to her cubs. All right. Our Waffles is not doing terribly much,
But it sounds like the little sausages are a bit more active.
Little cubs seem to have woken up on the breeze. Both mothers look extremely exhausted from their duties of parenting and, of course, hunting. He's just saying hello. Now, these little cubs were born during the height of migration, which, if you're a lion, is a good time to be born, because it means that there's always going to be plenty to eat.
Raising 2 handfuls of endless energy is tiring work. Especially when mum is jungle gym, playmate, and toy. But parenting in prides is shared, with each lioness lending a disciplinary paw. The cub's energy is incongruous given the astounding laziness displayed by the adults. It comes from the rich fatty milk that their mother produces from her hunting and scavenging. A pride is nothing if not a cohesive unit. Even rest and ablutions are a family activity. Although the defiant little ones never sit still for long and sometimes need to be swatted into submission. One thing that does slow the cubs down is the chance to feed. With full tummies, the gymnastics are temporarily suspended.
While these lions slip into yet another coma, I believe the leopards of Djuma are awake. Hosana and Tingana are having a very confused conflict over meat.
We've got a leopard that's just killed a nyala, and look, it's trying to take it up the tree. This is a very heavy carcass for a young leopard, and there comes a hyena. It's going to try and steal it. Unfortunately, it's just too heavy for that leopard to have taken up. He's a young male leopard, and that's a massive carcass. He tried his absolute best to get it up there. Now, what will happen, I think, with this carcass, because it's quite big, is that leopard is going to be quite clever about it. The hyena will eat itself stupid. Then there's a potential for this leopard to be able to steal back his carcass. As long as other hyenas don't arrive here, he'll be able to get it back again. He's quite good at that. But it's such a shame because he must have killed this within the last half an hour. It really is the most spectacular way to spend an afternoon. We've been so fortunate. We've just come into this area and we managed to find these guys, and it's all just happened as soon as we arrived, basically. We just found him kind of standing over the nyala, and then these hyena arrived. Really quite epic. Right, well, he looks very unimpressed, and I'm not surprised. This is not the first time we've seen this unimpressed look this week. At the beginning of the week, Tingana, Hosana, and Mfakazi all had unimpressed looks of their own. Mfakazi, an older male newcomer, visited Djuma recently. Stashing his impala meal in a marula tree in plain sight of the always peckish Hosana. Who wasted not a moment to cash in as soon as Mfakazi turned his back. Hot on his heels, the hyenas were almost the lucky recipients of his winnings, as Hosana fumbled the kill in his usual style. This time, however, Hosana did actually manage to reposition the meal successfully.
We assumed he'd settle in to enjoy his prize, but without taking a mouthful, Hosana decided to come down the tree sooner rather than later, making a quick judgment to dart away while the hyena were distracted. Turned out he was thirsty, but perhaps he should have put off his indulgence until he was done feasting. Because on returning to his kill later on, he found himself deposed by the higher-ranking monarch, his father, Tingana. Forced to watch the gastronomic experience from ground level, the little chief had little tolerance for fellow spectators, and decided to take sanctuary up his own tree. Biding his time until the Duke made his inevitable exit. Full-bellied or not, the Duke's duties of patrolling his kingdom call. Unfortunately, at this stage, I don't think there's going to be much left. It's pretty amazing what hyenas can do to a Nyala carcass, but poor Hosana, I think that's the end of that. I don't think he's going to get anything out of this. Pretty sure that his carcass is going to be pilfered completely. He might get a little leg or something, but other than that, the more that these two fight with one another, the more that's going to attract others, and I'm pretty sure we're going to start to see the whole clan arriving here fairly shortly. It's always sad when he loses a kill. I feel so bad for him because he tries so hard. We know how much he stalks and how many animals he chases and how often he tries this. And the fact that he hasn't gotten anything out of this is a bit of a shame. He didn't even get a feed at least. It was one little bite out of the bum. But what an incredible sighting we've just had. We've been super spoiled to be able to have seen what we've just seen. We really, really have.
Darkness has fallen here in the Masai Mara, and behind us the herds are going bang, bang, bang. And I had hoped that might inspire the Sausage Tree Pride over there to go hunting. And so this seems like an appropriate time to end this edition of the Cat Report. The Sausage Tree Pride has fascinated us with their amazing dynamics, and we look forward to meeting the new little cubs sired by the Aldonyo Payek males. Meanwhile at Djuma, the astounding royal leopard family continues to confound and confuse with their utter disregard of the leopard rules and textbooks. Join us next time for more magical moments from the predators of the Masai Mara in Kenya and the Western Kruger in South Africa on the Cat Report.